Russia continues to unleash the fury of its hellbirds on key Ukrainian cities. Videos of 4 Russian aircraft being shot down by Ukraine surfaced, including Mi-35 chopper and 3 Russian jets. Ukrainian Air Defense also claimed to have shot down a Russian drone. Ukraine shared several visuals of taking the pilots of these hellbirds captive. All aircraft were shot down in and around the capital city of Kyiv. In a few of these videos shared by Ukraine, Ukrainian armed personnel can be heard interrogating the captured pilots. Russia continues to bombard key cities. Videos of Sukhoi aircraft flying over the skies of Irpin, a suburb of Kyiv, have also surfaced. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky claimed that more than 10,000 Russian army troops have been killed in the war up until now. Putin goes ballistic on day 11 of invasion. Dramatic images of Russian Su-25 jets bombing capital Kyiv's suburbs have been caught on camera. Take a look at this report.
"25 kilometers from Ukraine's capital, in the middle of the city of Irpin, a pair of Russian jets dropped their bombs. Terrifying footage filmed from a citizen's mobile phone captures the thundering explosion as the munitions strike the ground. Listen in once again to this hair-raising sequence. Another video of the same attack or similar strike in Irpin has been captured on mobile camera from someone in their home. The unsettling clip captures the bombs hitting the ground and the 2 jets then streaking away. The fighters doing the dropping are believed to be Russian Air Force Sukhoi Su-25 strike aircraft designed to provide close air support to Russian ground forces. In the absence of Russia's more formidable air superiority fighters, Su-25 jets appear to have been deployed for maximum airstrike duties in the current conflict. Ukraine has so far claimed to have shot down at least 4 of these jets, though these remain in the realm of claims for now. The video footage of the airstrikes near Kyiv suggests that Russia has begun to bomb areas very close to the Ukraine capital, closing in on Kyiv that could soon be encircled also from the ground. The combination of brute strength on the roads and strike weaponry from the air is being seen as a visible escalation in the battle to make Kyiv bend.
I was in Irpin yesterday and I was not allowed to film there because Russians are too close. They're just a kilometer away. We could see a Russian tank there and they told the local residents or the reporters who are still stuck there, they said generally the firing takes place in the night. There's huge damage in Irpin, including in the civilian area.
The images also indicate that jet fighters are striking deeper inside Ukraine than earlier believed. Russian claims of having paralyzed Ukrainian air defense could find strength on the back of today's images from Irpin. But Ukraine will look to push back by saying it has shot down scores of Russian aircraft already. The true battle for Kyiv could be dead ahead. With Gaurav Sawant and Rajesh Pawar in Kyiv and Geeta Mohan in Lviv, Bureau Report, India Today.
It's day 11 of Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine claims that Russian troops have captured 2 Ukrainian nuke power plants and is advancing towards the 3rd one. Russian forces opened fire at locals protesting against Kremlin occupation in the breakaway Luhansk region. According to Ukraine, multiple people have been wounded as Russian forces opened fire at unarmed protesters. Meanwhile, the battle for the Ukrainian capital has gone ballistic. A video released by Ukraine shows badly damaged buildings after a Russian airstrike in a town 85 kilometers from the capital city of Kyiv. At the same time, thousands of Ukrainians have taken to the streets in Kherson to protest against the Russian invasion. Kherson was the first city to fall after Russia invaded Ukraine. Panic-stricken citizens are also fleeing the capital of Kyiv. 1 million people have fled Ukraine since the war has begun. UN says The speed of exodus from Ukraine could trigger the biggest refugee crisis this century. Meanwhile, the next round of talks between Russia and Ukraine will be held on Monday, where they are once again going to discuss ceasefire and safe passage for citizens.
Поэтому защищайтесь, иначе она заберет и ваши жизни, и ваши дома. Украина в своих не стреляет. Мы не взрываем жилые дома. И все на Донбассе для нас всегда были и будут украинцами, нашими людьми, нашими гражданами. У Донецку.
Kharkiv has been hit hard and the locals are living in fear. Here's a report on how civilians have to risk their lives even while they go out to buy essentials.
I had to call myself volunteer to the... Did you hear? I don't know whether it's volunteer or to the... Did you hear it? Yeah. Yes. It's a sound it's for. What is your name?
My name is Irina Beletskaya.
Irina Beletskaya. What do you do here?
Я по-английски не очень.
Huh? What do you do? We prepare some foods, sugar tea, and something for children in this home.
There's 30 minutes to curfew.
Да,
So yeah.
30 minutes for curfew.
So we need to go home and go today.
Now I want to say something to Russian people. I know in Russia there are many people who want to be free. There are many people who want to crush it, that Putin's Kremlin's, and that's all, the Kremlin's regime. Как будет английский режим? Это что будет? Regime. Yeah. Hey, people of Russia. Right now, me and my son, my family, live in Kharkiv, in Ukrainian city called Kharkiv. Ukrainian city, Kharkiv. Ukraine, it's a country. Ukrainian people want to be free. Ukraine is the great groups of people who want to be free. If you want to be free, go to streets, speak to each other, help to each other, destroy the Putin's regime. That's all. It's not strong, it's not different, it's so easy. Smile and the
Dramatic images of Kyiv. Russian troops are moving closer to the capital city every moment, leading to fierce fight in the outskirts of the capital. India Today with most in-depth coverage with maximum reporters in war zone.
It's been 10 days since the invasion. And Russia has shown no intention of lowering the intensity of its strikes. City after city is witnessing the fury of Russian missiles. Russian Sukhoi fighters are now all over Ukrainian skies. On Saturday, the Russian military turned its focus on Irpin, a city not far away from Kiev. Residential buildings were shelled. A school came under attack. And a key railroad was blown up. 10 days into the battle, the Ukrainian resistance too had not flagged. Ukrainians shot down a Russian Mi-35 chopper just outside Kiev, sending a clear message that they were still in control of their skies. Two other Russian planes were shot down in Chernihiv and Mykolaiv, their pilots taken captive. Ukraine even released a video showing a body believed to be that of the co-pilot of one of the jets that was brought down. All this as a 60-kilometer long Russian convoy headed towards Kiev.
This is the heart of the capital, and in fact you have air defense system even here that is operating. We've barely crossed a checkpoint. 100 meters from that, another checkpoint. Very close. Okay, we are putting the system down because this is where the army is.
Yes.
We are going to meet a very senior government officer here in Kiev, and that is why next to the government buildings there is massive military presence. Sir, ये गाड़ी रोकिए, इसके साइड से निकालो. Okay, Shiv, look at the barricades that are being put up here. We are not very far from where the top government officials sit. Look at the amount of security that is being put in place because this attack now is imminent.
Ukraine has made it clear that it will not give up Kiev without a fight. The Russians are adamant on taking the capital. What happens in Kiev will decide the outcome of the war. With Rajesh Pawar, Gaurav Sawant and Geeta Mohan, Bureau Report, India Today.
Day 11 of Russia's brazen attacks on several cities of Ukraine, but until now, it's been only strong words from the West, the promise of arms and economic sanctions to stop Russia. And that raises questions. Is Ukraine paying a price for placing trust in the West? Here's more.
Nearly 2 weeks into Putin's invasion of Ukraine, a sense of betrayal has set in among leaders and the people of this besieged country. A sense of betrayal that the West and the NATO have hung this country out to dry. Until now, it's only been strong words from the West, the promise of arms and sanctions to squeeze Russia. But beyond that, nothing else when it's perhaps needed the most. And that has raised huge questions. Is Ukraine paying a price for placing too much trust in the West?
Our forces are not and will not be engaged in the conflict with Russia in Ukraine. Our forces are not going to Europe to fight in Ukraine, but to defend our NATO allies and reassure those allies in the East.
Ukraine was sold dreams of a place in NATO and membership in the European Union. Both appear a long way off at this time. In the meantime, Russia has invaded using these two issues as the immediate provocation. Should the US have acted earlier, sent peacekeeping forces into Ukraine to preempt Russia? That was hardly ever going to happen, especially so soon after the Afghanistan debacle.
Betrayal from the West, because we were promised the security assurances when we gave up our weapon in 1994, because Ukraine was a nuclear weapon power and we voluntarily gave that up, and instead the United Kingdom and the United States were promising that they will assure our security in case someone tries to attack us. Now we are under attack literally from air and we're getting nothing.
But Ukraine had still lived in some hope. From his bunker in Kyiv, President Zelensky has urged NATO to set up a no-fly zone over Ukraine. The US-led NATO has rejected the demand, leaving Ukraine once again to fend for itself against the Russian Air Force that has just showed itself on the outskirts of Kyiv.
We believe that NATO member states have created themselves a narrative that the closure of the airspace in Ukraine would provoke direct aggression from Russia against NATO. It's self-induced hypnosis of those who are weak and lack confidence, even though they can possess arms stronger than ours.
The NATO, quite evidently, is unwilling to be dragged into a war in Eastern Europe, using the excuse that it's a defensive alliance. But the same NATO had no qualms in having boots on the ground in the Middle East. In Europe, obviously, it's a different ballgame. NATO does not want to risk escalation of a war by joining it.
We are not part of this conflict, and we have a responsibility to ensure it does not escalate and spread beyond Ukraine, because that would be even more devastating and more dangerous.
We are living in a new reality. It's a third world war. And if NATO or other countries from Asia Pacific will not stop the Putin, in next few years, everybody will under the threat of Russian army, Russian aggression, and Russian nuclear weapon.
NATO airplanes need to fly the whole territory of Ukraine to be under the threat, and definitely it is still a question that it can be that efficient as we would like to have it. But we know that these talks are not closed, that in many NATO countries they are still discussing technical possibilities of what can be done to protect Ukrainian sky, and that's what we really need.
So where does this leave Ukraine? Does it mean Putin's war machine will trample all over the country? And will the West continue to watch it from the sidelines? How long before a sense of betrayal becomes a sense of anger and action within Ukraine against the West? With Gaurav Sawant in Kyiv and Geeta Mohan in Lviv, Ukraine, Bureau Report, India Today.